Hello, I'm Jared Taylor with American Renaissance. We are a nation of immigrants. It's astonishing how many people trot out this slogan as if it were a serious justification for immigration policy, as if it actually meant something. I'm not an immigrant. I bet you're not an immigrant either. I guess we're just not part of the nation. So far as I can tell, people who say we are a nation of immigrants are saying that since we have let in immigrants in the past, we should keep letting them in. This is actually a well-known logical fallacy known as the argument from tradition. It's like saying, we've always done it this way, so we shouldn't stop. Of course, most of the people who make this argument despise tradition and would never use it to justify any other policy. How about basing policy on slogans that, unlike this nonsense about immigrants, are actually true? We are a nation of male presidents. We are a majority white nation. The people who say we are a nation of immigrants would think it was absurd to base policy on those true statements. But when it comes to immigration, and only immigration, they are perfectly happy to let the past dictate the future. But they are dead wrong about the past. To be an immigrant, there has to be a country to go to. If you settled Antarctica, would you be an immigrant? No, you'd be a pioneer. Were the Jamestown colonists immigrants? Unlike Antarctica, there were Stone Age people living there, but they didn't welcome the newcomers with food stamps and bilingual education, did they? About 10 days after the English chose their campsite, hundreds of Indians attacked them and tried to exterminate them. That's worse than trying to settle Antarctica. So, no, the colonists were not immigrants. Now, once there was a nation, yes, there was immigration. From 1790 to 1820, the U.S. population grew from 3.9 million to 10 million. That's 250% growth. Lots of immigration, right? Wrong. That population increase of 6 million was almost entirely due to natives having children. At the end of that period, only 1% of the population was foreign-born. 1%. We were not a nation of immigrants. And if the founders wanted immigrants, they wanted white immigrants. The very first Congress of the United States met in 1790. The Constitution had just been ratified. It was a brand new country, and Congress had to decide what kind of country it was going to be. And that year they passed the very first naturalization law that restricted citizenship to free white persons. The founders wanted a white country. Later on, immigration did pick up, and it was immigration from Europe. The vertical bars on this chart show the number of foreign-born people, that's immigrants, living in the country at the time of each census from 1850 all the way to 2010. The graph line over the bars is the percentage of immigrants in the U.S. population. By 1850, immigrants were 9.7% of the population. The highest that percentage ever got was 14.8% in 1890, 14.8%. 15% of the U.S. population is 11 or younger. Does that mean we are a nation of children? And from 1910 until 1970, the percentage of immigrants dropped steadily to under 5%. We were, once again, becoming a nation exclusively of natives. And until 1965, we had an immigration policy specifically designed to keep the country white. The rise you see after 1970 was a repudiation of 2 centuries of deliberately favoring Europeans. It was only then that we started letting in lots of Mexicans, Chinese, Guatemalans, Haitians, Somalis, you name it, who are transforming this country and are reducing whites to a minority. So that is the real meaning of we are a nation of immigrants. It is a profoundly anti-white slogan for people who don't like the United States and want to turn it into something else. It's the slogan of immigrants themselves, who naturally want the country to look more like them, and of sick white people who think it's virtuous to phase out their own people. And there's another slogan people associate with immigration. The Great Seal of the United States contains the Latin phrase, e pluribus unum, which means out of many, one. It's on the back of the dollar bill. The slogan was first proposed in 1776 to celebrate the 13 independent colonies coming together to form one country. A lot of people think the slogan means immigration, of immigrants coming from all around the world to become one people. Even Barack Obama thinks this. On July 1st, 2010, he gave a speech on immigration in which he said the usual goofy stuff, that letting people in is, quote, one of our most basic American values. And then he said this, e pluribus unum. That is what has drawn the persecuted and impoverished to our shores. As if ever since 1776, e pluribus unum was an invitation to the world's poor people. There is a pro-immigration nonprofit called the Migration Policy Institute that gives out e pluribus unum prizes for initiatives in immigrant integration. That would be like awarding a Peyton Manning Prize for economics research. There's just no connection. And you can be sure that those e pluribus unum prizes are not going to people who help Europeans integrate. Europeans wouldn't need any help, would they? And look at the title of this book, E Pluribus Unum, Contemporary and Historical Perspectives on Immigrant Political Incorporation. These people have hijacked the motto on the Great Seal. Just like Barack Obama, they act as if what it really meant was, we are a nation of immigrants. So, don't fall for the baloney. E Pluribus Unum celebrates 13 sovereign colonies joining to form a federal union. It's got nothing, and I mean nothing, to do with immigration. Anyone who tells you that is either stupid or thinks you're stupid. We are not and never have been a nation of immigrants. And to say that we have to keep doing something just because we've been doing it since 1970 makes no sense. The people who talk that way would never accept just keep doing it as a justification for any other policy. The people who founded this country founded it for Europeans. They would be horrified by what's being done to it, and you should be horrified too. Thanks for watching, and be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel.